My baby can handle a Tommy gun like most men can't even handle an automatic. Machine Gun Kelly's my little baby.
It popularized this notion that Hoover was trying to spread, that there were supervillains loose in the land, and that you need a super police force to track down the supervillains.
We must not for a moment lose sight of our goal, to teach the criminal he cannot escape the one inexorable rule of law enforcement: you can't get away with it.
In the heart of the roaring 20s, a name echoed through the streets of Chicago: Machine Gun Kelly. This wasn't your average gangster. He was a man of notoriety, a criminal mastermind with a taste for the dramatic. His weapon of choice? A Thompson submachine gun, a fearsome instrument that earned him his infamous moniker. But Machine Gun Kelly wasn't instantly a ruthless criminal. He was a product of his environment. His story is one of rise and fall, of daring heists and brutal violence. In this true crime installment, we'll explore the events that shaped his life, the crimes that made him famous, and the legacy he left behind. George Kelly Barnes, the man who would become Machine Gun Kelly, wasn't born into a life of crime. Raised in a respectable Memphis family, he initially led an ordinary life, attending Central High School and even briefly studying at Mississippi A&M College. Kelly's first sign of trouble came upon enrolling in Mississippi State University to study agriculture in 1917. From the beginning, Kelly was considered a poor student. He was constantly in trouble with his professors, and this academic pursuit didn't quite pan out. He then met a young woman named Geneva Ramsey and quickly fell in love. He decided to quit school and marry. As fate would have it, this marriage, too, would be short-lived.
She was a woman who enjoyed the good life.
Catherine was glamorous, she was attractive, she loved the spotlight, and she was a bad girl. She was a spitfire. She was full of sass, and she wanted it all.
During the Prohibition era, Kelly found his calling as a bootlegger, smuggling illegal liquor under the noses of the authorities. He was arrested once, but was released early due to good behavior. But his dream of big money and elaborate schemes was just starting here. He thought armed robbery was the next logical step, and he embraced it with a reckless abandon. Kelly's personal life took a turn when he met Catherine Thorne, a woman who would become his partner in crime and the driving force behind his transformation into Machine Gun Kelly.
She essentially served as his underground press agent, spreading these stories.
Catherine, with her own criminal connections and thirst for notoriety, encouraged Kelly's illegal activities and introduced him to networks of criminals in the area. She even gifted him the Thompson submachine gun that would become his signature weapon.
It was Catherine's big mouth that really put him on the radar, because she had been talking so much about how good he was with a machine gun that the Fort Worth, Texas police picked up on all that, and they described him to the Bureau as an expert machine gunner.
Kelly wielded the weapon with a chilling expertise, his finger dancing on the trigger as he barked orders and demanded compliance. With Catherine by his side, Kelly's crimes escalated in both frequency and audacity. The couple, along with their associates, embarked on a spree of robberies across the country. Their reputation grew, and soon, the name Machine Gun Kelly became synonymous with danger and lawlessness. The Kellys' criminal escapades extended far beyond bootlegging and bank robberies. Their thirst for notoriety led them down a dark path of kidnappings and extortion. In 1933, they orchestrated the kidnapping of a wealthy businessman from South Bend, Indiana. In a brazen daytime abduction, they snatched their victim from his office, spiriting him away to a hidden location. But their biggest score was yet to come. A crime so audacious, so daring, that it would shock the nation.
It popularized this notion that Hoover was trying to spread, that there were supervillains loose in the land, and that you need a super police force to track down the supervillains.
In the scorching summer of 1933, Machine Gun Kelly was a wanted man. Whispers of his exploits echoed through the city, his reputation as a ruthless outlaw growing with each daring heist. But Kelly, ever hungry for greater riches and notoriety, craved a challenge that would cement his legacy. He found that challenge in Charles F. Urschel, an Oklahoma City oil tycoon whose immense wealth made him a prime target for the ambitious gangster. Kelly, along with his loyal partner Catherine, meticulously crafted a plan. The scheme was as simple as it was audacious. Kidnap Urschel, hold him for a hefty ransom, and disappear with a fortune that would secure their financial freedom for life. On the night of July 22, Kelly, along with an accomplice named Albert Bates, disguised and armed to the teeth, descended upon Urschel's mansion under the cover of darkness. He overpowered the unsuspecting tycoon and his friend Walter Jarrett, blindfolding them and whisking them away in a waiting car. Kelly, the consummate showman, relished the power he held over these influential men, taunting them with veiled threats and exorbitant demands. Meanwhile, Catherine, the cunning strategist behind the operation, orchestrated the ransom negotiations with chilling precision. She demanded a staggering $200,000 for the safe return of Urschel and Jarrett. The media frenzy surrounding the kidnapping was understandably severe, with newspapers plastering headlines about the missing oil tycoon and radio broadcasts crackling with updates on the unfolding drama.
So they warned me out of the banking business, huh? We're gonna get out, all right.
Why, sugar? You doing all right?
Well, it's nickels and dimes. And your old lady wants some headlines? I'm gonna give her some headlines. We're gonna get into something big.
The FBI, under the leadership of Director J. Edgar Hoover, launched a massive manhunt, their agents scouring the country for any trace of the missing men. The nation held its breath, captivated by the high-stakes game of cat and mouse playing out between the Kelly gang and the authorities.
I think this was kind of what Gus Jones was cut out to do, track down people.
Through coded messages and cryptic phone calls, Catherine directed Urschel's family and associates to deliver the ransom money in unmarked bills at a designated location. But ultimately, the cash was delivered, and Urschel and Jarrett were released unharmed. Amidst their excitement, the criminals failed to understand one thing. Urschel was a shrewd businessman with a brilliant mind. He had been gathering evidence during his captivity. He memorized details of his surroundings, the sounds of passing airplanes, the number of steps in between venues, and even the layout of the farmhouse where he was held. In fact, he reportedly left fingerprints everywhere in case the authorities showed up. As the investigation intensified, the Kelly gang's lavish lifestyle drew unwanted attention. Blinded by arrogance and the intoxicating allure of wealth, the Kellys failed to notice the tightening noose. The FBI was slowly but surely closing in on them.
With a tip-off from young Geraldine, we were pretty damn sure that Machine Gun Kelly and his wife Catherine, who was just as dangerous, were holed up in a safe house in Memphis. I flew one of my best agents down there. With the help of some local deputies, Agent Rowan makes his move.
They crowded in on this little bungalow where supposedly Machine Gun Kelly was hiding.
On September 26 of 1933, the net finally gripped. Agents stormed a rented house in Memphis, Tennessee, where the Kellys were hiding out. The couple, caught off guard and outnumbered, surrendered without a fight. The reign of terror of Machine Gun Kelly and his gang had come to an abrupt end. The trial that followed was a media spectacle, with the media clamoring for a glimpse of the notorious gangsters. The evidence against them was rather unbeatable, and both were convicted of kidnapping and sentenced to life in prison. Machine Gun Kelly's time behind bars was rather surprising, as it contrasted his arrogant presence prior to conviction.
It's the judgment of the court that George R. Kelly be sentenced to the federal penitentiary for the term of his natural life.
After serving for 21 years, he died of a heart attack a day after his 54th birthday. Catherine, however, remained defiant until the end, maintaining her innocence and fighting for her release. She spent years appealing her conviction, but her efforts were ultimately futile. She died in prison in 1959, her dreams of freedom forever unfulfilled. He was a criminal, a kidnapper, a man who lived by his own twisted code of ethics. Yet he was also a product of his time. His story serves as a warning about unchecked ambition on the wrong side of the law, but it also offers a glimpse into a bygone era, a time when gangsters captured the public imagination and became unlikely anti-heroes in a world struggling to find its footing.
Like the video. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more true crime tales that send shockwaves through societies. Thank you for watching.